Well, a good afternoon, everybody, friends and neighbors. A big welcome to Horse Auction Report, the very first edition of one of our updates here that we're going to be doing for several sales throughout the year. My name is Blair Thompson, co-founder of Horse Auction Report, and today we're going to be sitting down with manager of Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale, Mr. Fred Snook, and talk about this year's events that they have coming up. Mr. Fred, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Blair. Pleasure to be here.
Yes,
So,
sir. We are you staying? Are you staying warm up there? Y'all starting to warm up there in Idaho?
yeah, no, it was real nice. Yesterday we did hit 72, the first 70 of the year, and actually
Wow.
68 right now. So, not that long ago, yeah, a month ago it was like negative 13 degrees. So, I think,
Oh,
I
good
think
grief.
our friends just over the hill there in the big hole, about 40 air miles away, they were 38 below one day, and 2 weeks later they were 40 above. There was a 78-degree swing in the temperature. So no green grass starting here, and we're looking forward to spring after a long winter.
Yes, sir. Yeah, us Southerners wouldn't know what to do with that big of a change. But I want to get right into it and talk about the Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale. And this particular sale is a historical and premier event for people from all over the Pacific Northwest to attend. And I think you told me it's been going on for 52 years now. Can you tell us a little
Yes,
bit
and
more about the background on
sure,
how y'all got
sure.
started?
The sale started in 1971. It was labeled the Diamond F Ranch and Ed Jones production sale. My mom and dad, Fred H. and Elizabeth Snook, longtime horse breeders here in this Limhi Valley. Mom and dad had about 100 horses, and I'd just come back from law school in '71, and Dad said, "Well, we decided we should have a production sale, and you're in charge." so, anyway, we sold about 30 some horses in that first one, and the high seller was 640, and the gross was 8,545. So, yeah, the average horse was just a little under $300. They mostly registered quarter horses. Mom and dad did raise a lot of thoroughbreds. And in those days, horse racing was a pretty big industry in Idaho, Montana, a lot of the smaller tracks. And then Boise, LeBois came along and was a big major racetrack in the Northwest. Anyway, the point was we had that production sale. Then the next year we didn't have our own sale. We we took horses from here to Oklahoma City to the Haymaker sale there, and then we took some to Southern California and sold there. But about 2 years later, we had a next sale, and some more of our neighbors joined in, and we got up to $20,000 in sales. And so then in about 1975, there's always been an annual sale every year until a few years ago. We were just ready for the sale, the productions, catalogs, everything out, and got struck. The fair board and county commissioners closed the fairgrounds for COVID, and so that was a big disappointment and a big hit in the pocketbook too, because we couldn't have the sale, had a lot of expense. But then the good thing, nobody predicted that, but after COVID, as those of you in the horse world know, the demand for good, any kind of riding horses, trail horses, whatever, the prices of horses just really went up, and now we're having the highest prices ever.
Yes, sir.
So
Well, I tell you what, that's a big test of time, and that's just up to COVID. Where are we at today? For 2021 to 2024 would have been last year's sale.
yes, well, on that, the sorry to get my glasses on here, but before, for example, back in 2019, our total sales were 739. We're talking just horses here. The mules are separate, but 739. We sold 132 horses that year, and they averaged about $5,600. The high seller that year was 20,000. Then, like I say, in 2020, we had 125 consigned, and we got to cancel by COVID. Well, we came back in 2021. So the difference between 19 and 21 in those 2 years, the high seller was 30,000 instead of 20. And we went from gross sales of 739 up exactly 300,000 to 1,039,000. So
Wow.
in 2 years, with fewer horses, we increased $300,000. The second high seller that year was 28, third was 27, the high selling mare was 24. Well, all four of those would have been the high selling horse just 2 years before. So from that, you can see. Then we came back the next year, 2021, and we had fewer horses, but we still, the high selling horse, all time high, went to 52,000. We'd never had a $40,000 horse before, and we jumped from a high ever of 30 to 52,000. The second high seller that year, 36.5, third 35, and we sold 15 horses less. Instead of 125, we sold 110, and we brought more money. So just hard to understand that. Then in 2023, our prices dipped down some. The high seller was 34,000, but that would have always been more than the high seller before COVID. And 33 was the second right behind. So now last year, our prices, we had fewer horses last year, and we were at 1,136,000. And the same thing occurred in the mules also. Before going back to that 2019, we had two tied for high seller at 10,000. Now that was down a little because we had a $15,000 horse in the past, but the same thing, Blair. 2 years later, after COVID, the high seller is 32,000. We go from a high as ever of 15,000 in a mule to 32,000. The overall category goes from 400 to 458. We sold 75 in 2019, and they brought 403. We dropped that down 22 head to 53. Wow. And we get 456. The average is 8,600 instead of 5,500. The average goes up 3,300 a head. The second high seller is 21. And then the same thing as in those horses. In 2022, the high selling mule here in Salmon, Idaho, is $49,000. Wow. 49,000. And the second high seller is 39,000. That second high seller was quite the production, and they ran a good clip on that in Boise. One of their TVs had a great follow-up a couple days later. But two fellows, Epi was a great big fellow, and his friend, they're old-time guys and cowboys, and they had their old straw hats on. They're driving around in an old pickup, and this mule is just standing in the back of the bed of the pickup, and so I'm up on the sale box looking this way at the sale ring with the auctioneer, and the sale door's right beside us, and the door opens for the next mule or horse to come in. Well, they just back this pickup in. The mule jumps out of the pickup. Epi rides him around, does all this, and he sells for 39,000. He waves his hat and jumps the mule back in the back of the bed of the pickup, and they drive off. Well, as they're driving off, somebody took the video clip, and and they had a dog in the back there with the mule, and the two guys had their straw hats on, and they're in this old truck, and they ran that on the Boise TV news and said, "This is rural America right here."
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, and it's amazing, going back to the numbers you were talking about, it's amazing how the economics of that has changed in just, 3 to 5 years time, versus the last 10 years prior to that. But moving in, I want to talk about the schedule of events, and I was reading through your schedule of events, and you guys have a lot of things jammed all into just 2 days, a lot of things to be a part of. And aside from horses and mule sales, y'all are going to be doing everything from mulemanship, colt starting clinics, to mounted shooting competitions, ranch horse, rope horse, trail competitions. There's going to be some dinners and parties going on along with that. Tell the viewers a little bit about what they can expect to see and be a part of within all of those activities and events.
Sure, Blair. So on that, the mule and horse sale is now grown into a 6-day event, kind of like the state fair. It starts,
Okay.
they get in here on Monday, and they start with a national mule clinic. Ty Evans, that goes all over the United States. We're fortunate to have him come in. So he has a 3-day clinic there, and he has an intro to cow working with mules and mulemanship, and that starts Tuesday. Then that goes Wednesday and ends Thursday. Then meanwhile, all of the horses and mules that are in the sale, they start flowing in Tuesday, Wednesday, and the last Thursday. Wednesday night, we have a welcome to the sale kickoff party downtown in our McNutt building, where we welcome all the buyers, sellers, sponsors, volunteers, vendors, etc. And that's free to the public, and everybody's welcome to come to that. That's at 5:30. Then Thursday, we have the SSS ride through, and on that we trailer the animals into town, unload at one end, and we ride through the city of Salmon, right up Main Street. We don't have a police escort or anything. We just ride through, turn around, and ride back through. So far, part of the wild horses are coming up and down, and the crowd really likes it, and all the traffic does too. We don't have any control, but everything works out. When that's over, and we have the mounted shooting competition, and that's a big event. And then at 5:30 Thursday, a real rural thing is the Idaho Outfitters and Guides Association from here in Limhi and Custer County put on the rendezvous, and in that they have the Idaho State Wolf Howling Championships, and that's
Wow.
quite the event. And this is about the 12th year, I think. We got all the kids howl, the little kids howl, the sheriff howls, the mayor howls. We have the professional howlers, and people really love the State Wolf Howling Championship. Then they follow that up with a big Dutch oven dinner, and then live music and a big band.
Well, I'd like to see you get in on the howling competition.
I was the very first person to howl back in that first deal because it was my idea. So they said, "Okay, we'll do it, but you got to go first."
Man, you guys got a lot of fun to be had. I didn't realize it was actually 6 days that all those events are going to be going on. So hopefully everybody can join y'all in person for that. But getting back into the sale itself.
Yeah, so
I know
that's
people,
Friday. Go ahead,
yes,
Blair.
well, I know people are dying to know what kind of horsepower and mule power they're going to be able to see and bid on. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on the kind of stock that's going to sell this weekend?
Sure. The background to that is we're a membership sale, so we don't advertise for consignments. So you have to be a member of our association to sell, but we have members all across the United States. So this year, like on the mules, for example, last year the high selling mule was 30,000, came from North Carolina, sells in Salmon for 30,000 to a gentleman from Texas. So that's a national sale right there. Well, the same Dylan Payne from North Carolina, he's back with two, and his 34 was his lot number that was the high seller last year. Well, his lot 34, they have a good, if you go to the website, salmonselectsale.com, and look these up, you can see a lot of them in action, videos, etc. But this mule has a yearling all stretched out there, roped, and just holding up with nobody on the mule. we've got a mule from Fort Worth, Texas that's coming. The Sallees have come for 20 years. They're outfitters in Yellowstone Park, right above the park, from Immigrant, Montana, and they've topped the sale for several years. They always bring 3 of their best mules, and they have some great mules. The Peterson Mule Company, they sell nationwide at Jake Clark's and other mule sales. And a new consigner this year from Billings, Montana, has a great mule at 34 called Clown that has a great write up on it. Mike Skilventland is his name. We've narrowed it down. We think there's 12 to 14 mules could be the high selling mule of the sale.
That's a broad number.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And on the horses, the same thing. Some great horses. A lot of our horses today come from Arizona. They spend the winter down there at Wickenburg and whatnot. Team ropers or just trail and then so those horses are all in real good shape. Come up here for the sale. Some come out of California, but a lot of our about a 300-mile radius is the heart of the sale from Salmon to about Billings, Spokane, past Spokane. We get a lot of buyers, especially from Washington, the top of Utah, middle of Utah. This year we have a great consigner coming from the bottom of Utah there. Some of them out of southern Arizona, Benson, Arizona. They were here last year. So it's a nationwide sale. There's literally there's one mule from Limhi County out of 60. So we have one local mule is going to sell here. And then the horses, I think, do we have 10 horses from Limhi County? About 10 out of 100 horses are local. So all of these people, for whatever reason, bring their horses and mules to Salmon. You know, we're 120 miles to the nearest freeway, 140 miles to the nearest airport. When we fly, we usually fly out of Bozeman, so it's 240 miles to get to the airport to fly out anywhere. So all those people come to Salmon, and they really have a great time here. The sellers are all happy because they do get good prices, but they don't get the extreme prices that you see that make literally no sense. So we were watching the other day on one of the national sales, and not knocking them because that's what the prices are. But there's horses there that sell for 20,000 that would sell for 20,000 here, so we're comparable. But then a horse comes in, he's stalled out at 9, 9, 9, 10, 10, 10. It takes 6 minutes to get from 9 to 20,000, and it sells for 100,000. Well, it's no different than 20 of the horses we're going to have here in our sale, but it might have brought between 15 and 25,000 max at our sale, and there's no reason in the world why that horse is worth $100,000. But hats off to the people. Well, then 3 horses after that, one comes in, sells for $8,000. It's a good horse, and it would have brought more than $8,000 here in Salmon. But two horses later, $280,000 for a gelding, $280,000 for this gelding. Well, I just don't know what you're going to do for $280,000 there that you couldn't buy a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 gelding and do the exact same thing. So what I'm saying is, you get more bang for your buck. If you want a good deal, you get to Salmon, Idaho.
Well, I reckon the heart wants what the heart wants, but I want to talk to our viewers and the buyers specifically. First of all, what's your suggested course of action to the buyers who want to see and try these consignments?
Okay, so on that, my suggested course would be to be here for sure by Thursday, because it's very hands-on. All the stock is right there. I mean, you can walk up to each stall and talk to the consigner, etc. And so, and my second advice is, if you're let's say you wanted to get a good trail horse or a good ranch horse or whatever, kid's horse, pick out more than one, get several choices. Because if that one just goes a little bit more than what your budget was, you got something to fall back right away that you've already studied over. Because the sale's going to last in the horses, the sale will start at 2. It'll get through right before 7, but you have about 5 hours. In the mules, a lot shorter time period. You're going to start at 5 and be done by 8. So you're 3 hours in there. So you want to get all your homework done early. You want to go to that website and really be studying all those videos and all the info of those horses. And then when you're here, it's up to the individual consigners, but most of them will let you ride the horse or mule, if you ask. There's a few that don't. And we don't boss them around on that, whichever they want to do. But most people will let you actually, try the horses out before the sale.
Okay, and if folks can't make it to the sale, how can they participate and bid from home?
Okay, there's 2 ways there. What page is that? Do you have it? Page 32, we have the online bidding info. There's a 60-page catalog, and the online bidding info, you go online to Gold Buckle.
It's right on our
horse
page.
Sale, and it's on the homepage of the website. And our website again, salmonselectsale.com. Go in there and register, and then you can watch the actual sale and bid online through them, or you can register to bid by phone, where you'll be live on the phone call as the horse or mule's in the ring.
Yes, sir. And one last question for you. Give some advice to the first-time horse buyer. What is your advice? Maybe this is their first time that they're getting to buy from public auction. What's your advice to them, first-time buyers going into a horse auction?
Well, a lot of that was just what we repeated there, but it's like anything else. To get the biggest success, you're going to need to make some effort. And so on that is just use some time, know what you want. Now, some people,
they can call the consignor.
Well, on that, she was suggesting if you see one in the catalog that you really like, you can call in advance. All the phone numbers are listed on the website. So call and talk to the people direct is very good advice. But the thing is, sometimes people, a first-time buyer, maybe and a first-time horse owner, need to think of some things. We have a lot of people, very nice people, that retire somewhere and they move out here in our area or the Bitterroot, and they buy 5 acres, and now they can have 2 horses, and mom and dad are each going to have a horse and go trail riding. But a lot of them overlook, the size. Is it the right size horse? Because like myself, I've had a lot of big horses, but today's world, I have to have a ladder to get on my horse. So I'd like a smaller horse now, a shorter horse. Doesn't need to. It can still be stocky, but I don't want a 16 2-hand horse anymore to try to get on, because I just can't do that. So and then the training is important, and a lot of times on a first time you want to look at that age, especially if you're not a accomplished rider, and literally most of us aren't. So you don't want to buy a 2 or 3-year-old. And I think we have 1 2-year-old. We usually don't allow 2-year-olds in our sale. We don't have yearlings, brood mares, any of that. So you want to make sure, an older horse, and at 5 isn't a very old horse, but an 8-year-old horse has a lot more experience and is probably gentler for you than a 3-year-old. So those are just things to look at: the age, the height. Now, some people, color is important to some people. Sorrel is probably the lowest selling color because it doesn't bring any extra money, because people, it's just sorrel. But versus Palomino or Grula or all the colors out there in the world. But that'd be kind of some of my advice.
Well, wise words there, Mr. Snook. That's all I have for you today, but we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. And I'm super excited to see the sale succeed and live on yet another year. 52 years. That's something to write home about. So congrats to you guys. And we're also thankful to have the Salmon Select sale on the Horse Auction Report team. So a big thank you to you and your whole team for letting us be a part of this journey. So thank you, sir.
Blair, let me give you one more thing for your viewers. Those that are not here and want to follow the sale, as each animal sells, we'll be posting that sale price. So you can just follow right along.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the internet will keep posting that. So
yes, sir. And then at the conclusion of the sale, of course, we're going to be posting those results as well on both your site and the Horse Auction Report. But again, folks, Salmon Select sale for all of our viewers listening here. Salmon Select sale is going to be April 11th and 12th at Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon, Idaho. And of course, we encourage buyers to bid live, but otherwise, as Mr. Fred said, you can bid by phone or online. Just go to salmonselectsale.com to find all the bidding info. Otherwise, the sale catalog can be seen on both the Salmon Select's website and on Horse Auction Report's website. And of course, those full sale results, as we said, can be found online at horseauctionreport.com. It's going to be another one for the history books, and it's definitely one that you're not going to want to miss. And of course, for more auction dates, sale results, market analysis, and everything happening in the world of horse sales, make sure to check us out at horseauctionreport.com. We'll keep you informed every step of the way. My name's Blair Thompson. Thank you, Fred Snook. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.